The Wounded Shadow in the Forest. Carter was alone. The alien forest of Ziara Prime was quiet, too quiet. Tall red trees rose into the purple sky, their thick leaves blocking the twin suns above. He had come here for peace, a break from the wars, a place to be forgotten. But this forest didn't feel peaceful today. He walked carefully, his boots crunching on strange moss. His old backpack was filled with basic supplies, a knife, water, food tablets, and a med kit. He wasn't a soldier anymore, just a wanderer. Then, he heard it, a low, painful growl. It came from the deeper part of the forest. Carter froze. Another growl followed, then a cry. It wasn't a normal sound, it was suffering. Something or someone was in pain. Carter looked toward the sound. His training whispered, "Ignore it. Stay safe. Don't get involved." But his heart pushed him forward. He moved carefully, through thick vines and glowing mushrooms. As he came closer, the sound grew louder. Sharp breaths, struggling. A deep, heavy creature trying to stay alive. Then he saw it. A huge beast lay near the base of a twisted tree. Its fur was dark silver, stained with blood. Strange alien arrows were stuck in its side. One leg was broken. Its glowing blue eyes looked up, weak but alert. Carter stopped. His breath caught in his chest. The creature was big, at least 10 feet long. Its mouth had sharp teeth, and its claws looked strong enough to crush a man. But it wasn't attacking, it was dying. The beast growled again, weak and pained. It tried to lift its head but collapsed back onto the ground. A pool of blood spread under it slowly. Carter should have turned back. Any smart man would. But he stepped forward. "It's okay," he said softly, holding up his hands. "I won't hurt you." The creature growled again but didn't move. Its eyes blinked slowly, full of fear and confusion. Carter kneeled, pulling off his backpack. He opened the med kit and took out a pain injector. It wasn't made for aliens, but he had nothing else. He slowly moved closer. "I'm going to help you," he whispered. The beast watched him, its body trembling. Carter injected the painkiller near one of the wounds. Then, with quick hands, he broke the arrows and pulled them out. The beast growled, louder in pain but didn't strike. It trusted him just a little. He used sealant foam to cover the wounds. It hissed as it touched the bleeding skin. Carter wrapped the leg with thick cloth, trying to make a splint. The forest stayed quiet. Only the sound of the creature's breathing filled the air. After an hour, Carter sat down beside it. He was exhausted. His hands were covered in blood. But the creature was alive. "You're lucky," Carter said, wiping sweat from his forehead. "Whoever did this wanted you dead." The beast didn't respond. It just looked at him, blinking, slowly again. Its eyes weren't wild like a monster's, they were calm, almost intelligent. "Guess I'll call you Ash," Carter said, pointing to the burnt patches on its fur. Ash blinked once, then rested its head on the ground. Carter stayed beside it as the twin suns began to set. Shadows stretched long over the forest floor. A soft wind blew through the trees. Somewhere in the distance, strange birds cried out, but near the broken beast, there was peace. Carter didn't know he was being watched. Above him, hidden in the trees, a small black drone hovered, silent, its red eye blinking. It zoomed in on Ash's body, then on Carter's face. Then it flew away, back toward the sky palace of Baroness Solara. A dangerous decision. The forest was darker now. Carter lit a small heat stone and placed it near the beast. Cold air moved through the trees like ghostly fingers. The silver-furred creature, Ash, was breathing slow but still alive. Its blue eyes opened sometimes, always looking at Carter. He had planned to camp alone. Quiet nights, no drama. But now beside him lay a 10-foot alien predator, wounded, powerful, and completely unknown. Carter sat on a rock, staring at the fire. "What am I doing?" he whispered. He could have left. The smart move was to walk away. Let nature take its course. Let the forest have the beast. But something in him refused. Maybe it was the way Ash had looked at him. Not like a monster, like a lost animal, scared and broken. Carter had seen eyes like that before, in war, in soldiers, in children after battle. That kind of pain doesn't lie. He got up and walked to Ash. The beast didn't move. It was awake but didn't show anger. Just silence. I'm going to move you, Carter said gently. This place is not safe. He pulled out a collapsible sled from his pack. It was small, meant for gear, not a beast this size. But he didn't care. He began rolling the body slowly, carefully, using vines as ropes. Ash growled in pain once but didn't fight. It took hours. The forest floor was uneven. Carter fell twice. His hands bled from pulling. Sweat soaked his shirt. But step by step, he dragged the beast toward a hidden cave he had passed days ago. By morning, they reached it. The cave was dry and deep, hidden behind thick bushes. Carter had used it before for shelter. Now it would be Ash's new home. He laid the beast gently, on the floor, placing soft leaves under its body. He made another fire and gave Ash some water drops using a tube. The creature licked them slowly, eyes half closed. Carter sat beside it, feeling exhaustion pull at him. You better not die after all this trouble, he said with a tired smile. Ash blinked once. Outside the cave, the forest stayed quiet, but far away, ships were moving. Meanwhile, in the golden halls of the Sky Palace, Baroness Solara stood tall before a screen. Her personal drone had returned. It showed video footage, the beast lying wounded, and a human helping it. Her jaw clenched. Her long black nails tapped on the glass table. That fool. That soft, foolish human, she muttered. One of her guards stepped forward. Orders, my Baroness? She stared at the screen, watching Carter pull the beast. That creature is mine, bonded since birth. No one touches it. Her eyes narrowed. Find the human. Follow him, but do not attack. Yet. Back in the cave, Carter didn't sleep. He kept checking Ash's wounds, making sure the bleeding had stopped. He tried to feed it crushed protein from a ration bar. Ash refused. But when Carter turned away, Ash slowly licked the food. That night, Carter sat outside the cave and stared at the stars. He remembered Earth, the war, the noise, the pain. So many people who never came back. I couldn't save them all, he whispered to the sky. Inside the cave, Ash made a soft, strange sound, almost like a low hum. Carter looked back. Maybe this wasn't just an animal. Maybe fate had brought them together, and maybe, just maybe, saving the beast wasn't the dangerous decision. Keeping it was. Whispers in the Sky Palace. Above Ziara Prime, far above the clouds and forests, floated the Q Sky Palace, a massive structure made of dark silver and golden glass. It hovered silently like a god's throne, supported by ancient tech only the Baroness's bloodline understood. Inside the throne chamber, the air was cold. Baroness Solara, the iron pearl of the Vornari Empire, stood in front of a long table. Around her, nobles in strange robes whispered nervously. Behind her, her elite guards, silent, faceless, loyal. On the table glowed a hologram, the injured beast, Ash, lying in a forest. Beside it, the human. Why has my companion not returned? Solara asked, voice sharp. A general stepped forward. We believe the human has interfered. He is tending to the creature's wounds. Solara turned her head slowly. Interfered? The room fell silent. She raised her hand and the hologram zoomed in on Carter's face. Tired, dirty, but calm, compassionate. It made her lips curl in disgust and curiosity. Look at him, she said. No armor, no rank, no fear. A Vornari priest in golden robes leaned forward. That human, he doesn't act like the others. He didn't capture the beast. He saved it. Solara's eyes narrowed. I don't care why he did it. He touched what was mine. The nobles tensed. They all knew what mine meant to the Baroness. Her beasts were sacred. She raised them with her own hand. They were symbols of status, power, and soul bonding. Ash was wounded, she said. Which one of you allowed her to fall? No one spoke. She waved her hand and 2 guards dragged out a shaking officer. He dropped to his knees. Baroness, I lost visual. The trackers were jammed in the southern ridge. Then lose your tongue. The scream that followed was short and wet. Solara turned back to the hologram, her long silver dress trailing, like mist. She stared at the human again. Track him, she said softly. But do not touch him. A brave noble asked, why not simply take back the beast? The Baroness smiled just slightly, because it chose him. Meanwhile, in the cave below, Carter didn't know a storm was coming. He sat inside the cave, resting against the wall. The fire was low. The beast, Ash, was breathing easier now. The wounds were healing slowly. Carter had even made a sling for the broken leg from alien bark and spare cloth. Ash watched him. Its blue eyes followed his every move, not like a pet, but like a thinking being. Carter spoke softly, not expecting a reply. You're healing, well, but I bet someone out there is missing you. Ash lowered its head. I don't know where you came from, maybe from the rich towers up north, or a warlord's castle, but here, I won't hurt you. Ash let out a strange sound, like a soft chuff, not a growl, not a threat. Carter smiled. You're not so scary when you're half asleep. Suddenly, his wristpad beeped. Motion alert. Outside. He grabbed his scanner and crept to the cave entrance. Just outside the bushes, a single red light blinked and vanished. A drone. Carter's chest tightened. Someone found us, he whispered. He returned inside, quickly packed supplies, and looked at Ash. Time to move again, big guy. Ash didn't growl. It stood slowly, leaning on 3 legs, still weak but willing to follow. Carter felt a strange pride. That's it. Stay close. As they left the cave, the forest around them fell silent. Unseen in the sky, a fleet of Shadow-class patrol ships was already changing course, heading for the last coordinates of 1 human and 1 stolen beast. Bonds in firelight. Night came fast on Ziara Prime. Carter moved quickly through the forest with Ash beside him. The beast limped but walked without growling. Every step was painful, but Ash didn't stop. It followed Carter like a silent shadow. The forest glowed faintly under the moons. Blue flowers lit the path, pulsing softly like breathing stars. The world was beautiful, but dangerous. Carter knew they were being tracked. Drones, maybe hunters. Maybe worse, they needed shelter. After hours of walking, he found a wide hollow under the roots of an ancient tree. It was dry and hidden. Carter cleared leaves and made a small fire. Ash collapsed beside it, panting heavily. You did good, Carter whispered. He gave the beast water and checked the bandages. Still bleeding a little, but not as bad. Ash looked at him. Its eyes no longer seemed wild. They were thoughtful, quiet, as if it was listening. Carter sat beside the fire, rubbing his sore hands. He looked at the beast. You know, I never meant to stay on this planet. Just needed a break. A place to disappear. Ash blinked once. But you made that impossible. The fire crackled. Strange insects hummed in the trees. Suddenly, Ash moved closer. Very slow. Its massive head rested on Carter's leg. Carter froze. He didn't breathe. The creature's head was heavy, warm, trusting. Ash closed its eyes. Carter stared down, shocked. You trust me? No answer. Just soft breathing. Carter gently touched the fur. It was rough, but soft in patches. Under his hand, he could feel the heartbeat. Slow and strong. It wasn't just a beast anymore. It was something more. Something broken. Like him. Far away, in the command chamber of a skyship, Baroness, the scout captain reported. We've found signs, burned moss, droppings, blood. Solara stood still. Her face was like stone. Distance? She asked. Less than 50 miles. They're moving southwest. Slowly. The beast is wounded. And the human? He's helping it survive. She turned to her beastmaster. Why would Ash bond with a human? The master, a wrinkled alien with gold tattoos, spoke carefully. Ash is old, my lady. It was born during war. It remembers pain. Maybe it sees something in him. Solara's eyes flashed with quiet anger. Ash is mine. My protector. My weapon. The beastmaster bowed. Perhaps. Not anymore. Back under the tree. Carter woke up just before dawn. Ash was still beside him, sleeping peacefully. For a moment, everything felt calm. Then he heard it, a sound, like buzzing. He looked up. Tiny blinking lights floated through the trees. Not fireflies. Scouts. Tiny flying drones. 3 of them. Silent. Watching. Ash woke up too. Its head rose. Ears. Alert, eyes glowing. We've been found, Carter whispered. He picked up his gear and touched Ash's shoulder. Time to move. Ash stood quickly, growling low. They both looked into the forest, silent, cold, waiting. This time they wouldn't run to hide. This time, they'd move together, as a team. The Baroness descends. The sky broke open like a crack in reality. Giant Royal-class dropship roared down from the clouds, black and gold, shaped like a blade. It didn't fly. It glided like a predator. Trees bent from the force of its engines. The forest animals ran. Even the air seemed to hold its breath. Carter stood beside Ash, shielding his eyes from the dust and light. He had been chased before, but never like this. The ship landed just 30 meters away. No weapons fired. No warning. Just silence. Then the ramp dropped. From the smoke, Baroness Solara appeared. She did not run. She didn't need to. She walked slowly, confidently, dressed, in flowing dark armor that shimmered like starlight. Her long white hair moved like it had a life of its own. Around her neck hung a glowing gem, pulsing with soft blue light, the same color as Ash's eyes. Carter felt cold, though the forest was warm. Ash growled. It wasn't loud, but it was deep, uncertain. Solara stopped just 10 feet away. Her soldiers flanked her, weapons ready but not raised. Her violet eyes looked at Carter, then at Ash. You are bold, human, she said. Her voice was soft, but dangerous. Carter didn't speak. He placed his hand gently on Ash's shoulder. Solara looked at the beast. Ash, come, she said it not like a command, but like an expectation. Ash stepped forward just once, then stopped. The Baroness blinked. I raised you, she said. I fed you from my own hand. You were born in fire. You were mine. Ash let out a low noise. Not a growl, but not a whine, either. Conflicted. Then it turned toward Carter and stood beside him. Solara's eyes flickered with surprise for the first time. Carter's voice was quiet. She's not yours anymore. Solara laughed, but there was no joy in it. You saved her, yes. But do you even know what you've done? She stepped closer. That beast is no pet. She was bred to kill, trained to protect my life, bonded, by blood and oath. Carter didn't move. She bled, he said. I stopped it. Solara stared hard at Ash. She broke a command for you. Then she did something no one expected. She dropped to one knee. Ash, she whispered, choose. Everyone froze. The beast looked at her, then at Carter, then back again. Her head tilted, then, slow and steady, she moved back beside Carter and lowered herself beside him, not bowing, but guarding. Solara stood up. Her soldiers gripped their weapons. She raised a single hand. No. She turned away. As of today, the beast is yours, she said without looking back. But know this, human. She paused at the ramp. You may have earned her loyalty. But now, you've earned my interest. With that, she vanished into her ship. The engines roared again and the sky swallowed her whole. The challenge of the tamed. 3 days passed. Carter and Ash rested in an old ruin deep in the southern woods. The walls were broken, covered in moss. It had once been a Vornari outpost, long abandoned. Now it was home. Ash was healing. Her limp was almost gone. She could run again, hunt again, but she stayed close to Carter. Never more than a few steps behind. She had chosen him, but the galaxy wasn't ready to accept that. On the third morning, thunder shook the ground, not from clouds, but from the sky. Another ship landed. But this time, it wasn't the Baroness. Itu was her champion. He stepped down, tall and armored in bone-white plates with red flames carved across his chest. His name was Viel Auric, a dueling master, feared even among Vornari nobles. Behind him marched soldiers and witnesses from other houses. Drones floated above, broadcasting everything live to the upper worlds. The nobles wanted a show, and they were going to get one. Carter stood in front of the ruin, Ash beside him. Vale raised his voice so all could hear. Human Carter, you were given shelter and you stole what was sacred. You touched the soul-bound guardian of Baroness Solara. Carter didn't flinch. I didn't steal her, he replied. She was dying. I saved her. Then prove your worth, Vale said coldly. By the laws of the bonded ring, you have one choice. The crowd went silent. Duel or death. Carter stood in the circle. The duel ground was sacred, a ring of stone deep in the valley, a place where warriors settled claims by combat, not politics. He had no armor, no energy weapons, just a short blade and his instincts. Viel, on the other hand, stood fully armed. The announcer's voice echoed. By ancient right, the outsider shall fight. If he falls, the beast returns to the Baroness. If he stands, he earns the ring. Carter looked to the edge of the ring. Ash crouched there watching. He could feel her tension. I'm not a champion, he whispered. I'm just a man. But a quiet growl answered from her throat. Not just a man. Her man. The bell rang. Viel attacked first. Fast, heavy swings from a blade that pulsed red. Carter dodged, barely. He wasn't trained for this kind of fight, but he was fast. He moved like a ghost. He remembered the drills from Earth, the pressure, the survival. His blade met Vale's. Sparks flew. Metal screamed. The crowd shouted. Some cheered, some cursed. Vale laughed mid-fight. You're quick, human, but you're alone. That's when it happened. Ash roared. The arena shook. Guards raised weapons, but the Baroness, watching from a throne above, raised her hand. Let her enter, she said softly. Ash leapt into the ring. The crowd gasped. 2 against 1. But Solara smiled. Let the bond speak. Ash didn't attack Viel. She stood behind Carter, her body low, muscles tense. A pair, not a master and pet. A team. Viel hesitated. Then he came forward again. Stronger this time, more wild. But Ash moved with Carter, circling, cutting off Vale's footwork. The beast's growls forced him to turn his head. Carter used every second, every opening, a slash, a strike. Blood. Carter landed a blow across Vale's arm. The champion staggered. The crowd shouted again. Ash pounced, not to kill but to block. Carter moved in, one final strike. Clang. Viel dropped his weapon. He fell to one knee, defeated. Silence. Then, the Baroness stood. All have seen it, she said. Man and beast, move as one. She raised her hand. Let the human wear the mark of the bond. A silver insignia was tossed down from the high platform. Carter caught it. Ash stood beside him, her eyes calm. They had won. Not just the duel, but each other. A new mistress, a new master. The duel was over. Carter stood in the ring, blood on. His blade, the silver mark of the bond, now strapped to his arm. Ash stood beside him, not as a beast, but as his equal. The crowd had gone quiet. Nobles stared in disbelief. The mighty champion Vial, defeated by a human, not with power, not with tech, but with loyalty and trust. High above, Baroness Solara remained still, no anger, no command to attack, just silence. Then she spoke. "The beast has chosen," she said, voice echoing over the arena, "and the ring has witnessed." A golden banner dropped behind her throne, marked with ashes. Sigil, now split into two halves. One for her, one for him. Carter looked up at her, confused. "You're not angry?" he asked aloud. Solara tilted her head slightly, something between a smirk and a challenge. "I don't lose," she said calmly. "I transform." The nobles gasped as she began walking down toward the ring, alone. Later, in the grand hall of the palace, Carter stood before a glowing mirror, dressed in fresh clothes. His old gear had been replaced with fine fabric and leather armor marked with the bond crest. Ash sat silently nearby, tail curled, eyes calm. Then Solara entered. No guards, no weapons, just her. "I brought you here," she said softly, "because you've taken something from me." Carter stood still. "Ash?" Solara shook her head. "No. Her heart I gave long ago. What you took was my fear." Carter said nothing. She stepped closer, just inches from him. "I trained Ash to obey. You taught her to choose. That makes you dangerous human." He met her gaze. "I'm not here to lead, or to rule. I just did what felt right." She smiled. "Exactly. That's why I want you." He blinked. "Want me?" She nodded. "As my equal." 3 days later, word of the duel spread fast. Across the stars, people whispered about the human who tamed the Baroness's beast and won her respect. Some called it luck. Others called it fate. But few dared speak against it. In the training grounds of the Sky Palace, Carter stood beside Ash. They watched new recruits train, Vornari and human alike. Things were changing. Solara appeared behind him. "You haven't left," she said. Carter looked at her. "Maybe I belong here now." She raised an eyebrow. "A place you once wanted to disappear from?" He chuckled. "Turns out disappearing isn't as peaceful as having purpose." Ash made a low sound like a soft purr. Solara walked beside Carter, her cloak brushing the marble. "Then stay," she said. "Not as a guest, not as a soldier." She turned to face him fully. "But as my partner, in rule, in battle, in legacy." Carter glanced at Ash. The beast simply nodded, as if giving its blessing. That night, under alien stars, Carter sat on a high balcony, watching the moons rise. Ash lay nearby. Solara stood at the edge, wind in her hair. The silence was different, now, not lonely, not cold, but alive. He had come to this world to escape everything. Instead, he had found a beast, a battle, and a Baroness. And somehow, he belonged.